Soul Garden.
Good morning. I'm Love Casting live from my Zen Meditation Corner in Costa Mesa, California. And this is your Thursday, Namaste Today. Good morning and Namaste. Welcome to Namaste Today. My name is Christopher Oteki. I'm a psychic astrologer and the Sensei to stepº8 at your soul service. Here to stand in my heart and walk in the light each day. Thanks so much for logging into my little web show. This is for Thursday, October 1st, 2015. And today is a benchmark day in many ways. First of all, step 8 Libra rules the day. And whenever step 8 rules the day, it's always a benchmark. It's always a turning point. It's I decide, that's why, which is also known as Capricorn or Saturn. So we're making a Saturn decision. But what I find most compelling is today Saturn has moved to step 1 Sagittarius. And step 1 is when the story begins. And that's what's going to be today's topic. Today's topic is Saturn in Sagittarius. Now Saturn has already been in Sagittarius and retrograded back last year. But this is now its final transit through Sagittarius. And you should understand kind of how the two energies work. What astrology tells us is the timing of cycles and circles. So you have the cycle of Saturn, which is once every 29.5 years. And Saturn is our decision-making process. And then you have the cycles of Sagittarius, right? And Sagittarius is our belief structure, or what I call step 3, I believe. So Saturn, every 29 and a half years, comes back into Sagittarius, at which point the collective conscious makes new decisions, Saturn, about what we believe collectively. And you can kind of see this more in history than you can in the present. So let me give you an example. Now, the last time Saturn was in Sagittarius, for direct and for good, was December 1985, and we were under President Ronald Reagan. Now, what's interesting about Sagittarius is our belief structure, and I think every American watching would say that since Ronald Reagan lined up with Saturn and Sagittarius, we have been under Reaganomics, okay? And Reaganomics is the philosophy I believe we all kind of adopted, whether we are aware or not, mostly because the ruling class is the rich and the rich are the ones adopting it. But in that time, the last time we all decided, the rich decided for us, it would be Reaganomics. And we've been kind of operating under that Reaganomics sense. Now you might go, well, when was the last time before that Saturn was in Sagittarius? Great question. I'll go back one more time. And it was January 1956, and the president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. And I would argue that when Mr. Eisenhower was president and Saturn was in Sagittarius in 1956, that we culturally adopted the industrial war complex, or machine, which basically was us mixing our industry with our human growth and capitalism, because once the war was over, we had nothing to do and the industry wanted to survive. So we were under an industrial war complex during that period. And then I would say Reaganomics is, of course, on top of that complex, with Reaganomics on top of that. So it begs the question, here we are again. Saturn is in Sagittarius, and we have a different world, my friend, than we did either of these times. For one, we have freedom of information. We have the internet. You're watching this video. I'm able to give you this perspective. This type of thing has been withheld from mass media, withheld from newspapers, withheld from, again, some very few rich that control lots of information. But now with Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and them kind of run by newer, younger generations who believe in free information, who don't believe in totalitarianism over information, we have a different moment here in Saturn and Sagittarius. And today with Saturn at step 1 in Sagittarius, it is the first day where we really start to build that new belief. Now, my friends, I really want to underscore your personal power, why I take the time to tell you these things and volunteer my time to you, because your power is far more greater than you realize. In fact, just the likes and not likes, just the things you go out and do in social media, you have no idea probably that everyone, foolishly in my opinion, but everyone is looking at Twitter and Facebook as the source of information. Now, I think it's better information than we've had before, and I think we should use it to our advantage. Where you put your dollars, where you put your power, where you put your time and attention is where you put your energy. So it is my advice that you recognize now that we are creating a new belief for human culture. It begins today with Saturn at step 1, so it's official. It begins with you, and it begins privately with you. Because here in these first 11 degrees of Saturn in Sagittarius, from 0 to step 11, basically the first 12 steps, or the 11 steps of Serious Joy, we will create the me-ligion. The me-ligion is what is true in your heart. Now, my grandparents were Catholics, okay? But I knew right away, growing up, that there was a difference between being a religion and having a me-ligion, okay? Because Grandma would show up for the religion, but then she had her me-ligion. She had what she actually believed. And she also had her own way of believing around getting around the Catholic Church, too. It's like, we're in, we're out, we did a few Hail Marys and, whatever. Like, it was very calculated, like cutting coupons. You know what I mean? But I think she went to heaven in her belief structure. We all go to heaven. But the point is that I saw at a young age that human beings have what they believe, and then they have what they subscribe to. Now, I argue that with Jupiter in Virgo, we are not only rewriting our beliefs, but with Jupiter in Virgo, we're rewriting them during a period of integrity. Jupiter in Virgo means integrity is sponsored. Integrity means truth to who we are on the inside, truth to who we are on the outside. That means we're honest that we have gay marriage. We're honest that we have these things in society that we don't necessarily have figured out, but we need to now. We need to look at practically. Saturn will be in Sagittarius up until the end of 2017. And during that time, we'll also have Jupiter in Libra, which will push for balance and fairness. Okay, and as it approaches 2017, Jupiter, of course, will then move into Scorpio, which is drawing the line, which means we're coming to a conclusion with our beliefs, and it's time to do something about it. Incidentally, it is my opinion that the human culture and race will argue what they believe before they go into any type of real re-evolution. But I do think a cultural re-revolution is around the corner as soon as Saturn is complete in Sagittarius. So if you want to know when all hell may break loose, it is when we go to enforce what we have been debating. So I cannot say enough right now that I think conversation is the most important thing. I've been posting some things on my own Facebook and on the Soul Garden Facebook, and a lot of them is just to impose conversation. Some people have come down on me and judged me right away for posting these videos. It's like, and I just want to say out there, guys, I have a heart of gold. I think we should have conversations and not crucify each other for being witches right now. I think we should just listen to each other. I mean, we all come from the same source. I believe that we will come to a conclusion, but mostly we needed to have discussion, and part of the reason we have to have discussion is because we all have a lot of pain. We kept a lot of things private. We're doing a lot of projecting in the early beginning of the discussion. I think that's one of the reasons why we see such extreme campaignism going on. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. That would be extreme in the Democratic realm, and Donald Trump is an extreme, of course, conservative, but does represent, in my opinion, a lot of the thinking of that Reaganomic belief structures. So the question is, do we want to continue with Reaganomics or not? And what are the new belief structures? And I welcome anyone to open this conversation in any one of my videos. You'll always see that if you throw out some ideas about what we should be or what we could be or what the possibilities are, you'll see I not only like it, but usually respond because I really welcome that conversation. So today, my friends, begins Saturn in Sagittarius. And a little lengthy today, but I thought it was worth it. Now, for those watched over my personal Sensei network today, your eye candy, we'll be talking about Saturn in Sagittarius and where you'll be re-architecting your soul biography. And remember, in the service, your soul biography refers to your multi-lifetime story, the story that's not just this lifetime, but what your soul is seeking in this lifetime out of many. And you'll learn over time in the service what those other lives are as time serves on. You already get 10 messages a day, so have to roll it out slowly. So without further ado, let's do a reading for everyone for Thursday, October 1st, and see what my guides have to say about the planets and any advice for the day. Okay, so Interesting this time. Ooh, yeah. So the first thing that came up was Mars, and then from Mars, my belly burned, which told me that Mars is going to be burning karma today. When my belly burns like that, that's a sign for me that there's karma being burned off. It's almost like I can feel fat burning in my chakra. It's a weird feeling, but it's very, very distinct. And you'll find as your own psychic abilities awaken, and I think everyone's on Earth is going to, whether you believe in it or not. It is part of the ascension process. Because I'm seeking it, I'm bringing everyone with me. They're bringing them, But the cycles and circles say that at 26,000 years of the Mayan shift, that we all are all opening psychically, whether we like it or not. So I share with you what I'm dealing with. So I get a burning sensation in my stomach when I'm getting karma burn. So Mars is at step 4 in Virgo. Now let's go back. Today's a step 8 day in Libra. So what that means is that we are deciding step 8 what we don't want anymore. And in the first 11 steps to serious joy, step 8 is I decide what I am not. And this is always the ledge in which we hoist ourselves up on. Human beings are built on adversity, but it doesn't have to be with each other, okay? It can be with, I am not this. That could be your adversity versus I am not you, right? And I think that's what's kind of, negative about some of the campaigning, the idea that they're the problem. Anytime you think someone outside yourself is the problem, you're definitely Reaganomic, right? Like, in that regard. But the truth is human nature only knows itself by what it's not. So I think an evolved human must still, in step 8, say, I am not this. So today, we're all going to say, I am not this. And that might mean that you see something like that horrifies you on TV. It may mean that you see something that you almost do again, and you're like, you know what, I'm not this anymore. You might stop in your tracks. We're in the mirage transit of the sun in Libra. So what this is the transit of understanding our own relationship to ourselves. So it could be very quiet in front of the mirror, like, you know what, we're not going to be this anymore. We're not going to be the one that puts ourselves down or nah, right? So today we're going to say I'm not. Now I think the karma burning that I feel in my stomach is Mars and Virgo. Mars is at step 4, which means that our ego is now ready to jump up to where we belong. All this time we've been talking about where we belong, and that was all spiritual. That was all pre-literal. That was all pre-reality, okay? The winds are blowing. And so today it's like actual reality. So actual reality may mean that we may see actual loss. We may see people drop out of the race today. We may see people say, I don't belong here, I do belong here. We may see people speak up for the first time. If this is the civil rights in the 60s, we might see Rosa Parks say, no, I don't belong, giving up my seat today. This is a day where that sort of energy is I don't belong is electric. And at the same time, this is what's paradoxical, Venus is at step 24, which is her grandmaster step. Step 24 is the grandmaster of Venus. So she is open like a woman singing the high note, like is the highest Venus note. And it's in Leo. So as we are saying we are not, as we are saying we belong, we are saying our heart is and I am, I feel, I receive as. So today everyone should be hitting at the same time another source of energy where you feel like this is me, this is so me over here. And it's something in your heart, something non-material yet, just so you know. So whatever you're saying is so me is something you're projecting that you want to light cast into the future. It's not necessarily something here right now. And I would question anything that would be outside of yourself at this point to invent the new you, okay? Because we live in creation. And so what they bring me to is very interesting. So this energy of who we belong and where we belong and getting ourselves there actually squares our belief structure. So what this is telling me, this is the karma burning. As you become the new, you become anti-Reaganomic. Now, I argue everyone will be anti-Reaganomic. We're going to invent maybe the next Reaganomic if we, Trumponomics. I mean, God help us, it might be Trumponomics, right? But I'm not saying one side or the other. I'm saying Reaganomics is officially dead because Saturn is Sagittarius. I'm saying that before the culture votes on it in a year through the symbolism of a president, the culture will debate with themselves right now in their own stomach what is right and wrong. And I think today, when people start to say what they belong, what I'm picking up on is as soon as you say you do belong one way, you are saying you don't belong a different way. And I think that's okay. And I think there's a little burn. And I think some people are feeling the burn. And I mean that in the cleverest way for people who know. My hair is starting to fall. That's a crisis. Okay. So Black Lilith is still at step 4 in Libra. And step 4 Libra means that Our fears are that we'd make the wrong choice, that we'd marry the wrong person, that we would marry or make the wrong me-reach vows to ourselves, and then find ourselves out there alone. First of all, you made the deal with yourself, so when you find yourself out there, you won't be alone. You'll be with yourself, the person you made the deal with. I mean, just so you know, so there's no such thing as alone. In fact, this is an illusion that we are alone. Anyways, as soon as you die or whatever, you go back to the truth that we're not actually alone, this idea that you are alone. But more importantly, I think what's important in the whole Libra 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whatever it is you're launching now, is that your perception of yourself is so important that it itself is the Holy Ghost of you. And so you are not alone. You're always with your perception of yourself, which is either love or fear. So it's important that we create this new me-ridge, and it's important that we know we're never alone. And Black Loth at step 4 is creating fear that we could be alone. And I argue that's impossible. So any fear that's impossible, just pull right out from its foundation, okay? Because it's time to create a new relationship where we're smooth with ourselves. And the last thing I'll say here is, and this is coming from them, is the culture, the earth is up for a lot of change, and a lot of climate change they're showing me too, which just came in. And so you must get solid with what you believe now before you're thrown into any kind of ring of argument, discussion, or debate. Know what you believe privately now and take this time for yourself. All right, my friends, that's all I have for Thursday. I'll be back for your special Friday show. Mercury is still retrograde, so, this is all for discussion, but I do welcome everyone to come on down and join my site at soulgarden.tv or follow me on Twitter at stepº8. And once we go direct, it's going to be fascinating as far as how our personal lives unfold. But the Mercury retrograde part is, no matter what you're thinking about right now, Mercury's retrograde. This is all just theoretical. Until tomorrow, remember, I love you and live, love, be.